Makar.
I love the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now wake up! It's time to look at the enemy. Look in the mirror if he is no friend to me. It's not working out, maybe it's the chemistry. It's time to break up so I can make a better me. Better believe in your mind, cause it's everything. You can mold, shape, find almost anything. All it takes is some time and some clarity to find your identity. It's mind over everything.
Remember, he was famously knocked out of the playoffs in that second round series with the Winnipeg Jets. And there's a lacrosse.
And when I feel like this, I'm immortal. When I feel like this, I'm immortal. When I feel like this, I'm immortal. When I feel like this, I'm immortal.
Tampa Bay Lightning win their second straight Stanley Cup.
We're off to a roaring start here.
Beautiful. Hold on. Hockey.
Oh, I was still muted. Oh my gosh. Yeah, welcome. Damn. It's
The
I
thing with
tell
the
ya.
microphone, you want to say it doesn't say mute. It needs to say unmute, and you click it.
yeah,
Yes,
I
it does.
jumped the gun a little bit, but
It's okay.
yeah, good to be back doing another super show. Kind of just after all the dust has settled across the NHL. It's September, but can guarantee you all five of us are thinking more about the impending hockey start as opposed to football, maybe.
I mean, I do have a sign that says we have hockey this month. So
It's great. Beautiful sign.
it is. I mean, yesterday the sign was bilingual. I had to change it on the fly today. So
How nice. Okay.
yes.
We have a bilingual queen here. How great.
I mean, I had to welcome the Montreal Force to the PHF in
Yeah.
both of their languages. So
This is true. But
There you go. Well, yeah. How's everyone doing? It's been a minute since we've had one of these.
I have my wine all ready to go, sticking with belly up tradition.
I decided not to stick with belly up network hockey tradition today, and I'm drinking water instead of hard liquor.
Gotta stay hydrated.
Gotta
This
stay
is true.
hydrated.
No, Ryan, I
What's waiting in
know.
you?
Because
You
Ryan was
had-
pouring some beer.
No, Ryan, I know you had a football thing for fantasy going on today. How is it, before we get into our hockey talks, how did that go?
It starts in half an hour actually. So so I'll be a little bit distracted, but actually it's 27 minutes and change. But
Be drafted on
Not
the
that you're-
fly.
Not that you're counting or anything.
not that I'm counting. No. But I
But
also just
yeah.
got back from vacation in North Carolina, so I'm a little bit worn out, a little bit worn, but a little bit weary. But
Where'd you
I'm
go?
hanging in. Corolla, Outer Banks.
Nice. Okay.
Heaven on earth.
Literally,
down there.
yes.
It's one of my favorite places on earth.
Joel, our gracious host, how are you?
You know, I've been pretty good, all things considered. Big job interview tomorrow, so hopefully we'll be changing careers here soon. So we'll see what happens there. But it's with a big marketing company. Really excited for it. Business to business sales type stuff. But other than that, pretty good. Had a good summer. Released a few of my first articles through Belly Up, which was a lot of fun. And yeah, just kind of flowing right now. So
Nice.
They were good pieces, Joel. I edited both of them, and I was very happy with your Central Division rankings.
well, thank you. I tried not to throw your Hawks under the bus too much.
Look, bus drive them. It's fine.
That's
It's going to be a couple seasons of that. It's going to be okay. I'll be fine.
Every Blackhawks fan.
Yeah, pretty
Yeah,
much. I mean, I still have I have my Black Hawk shot glass here, but I did not bring the liquor into the office. So if I just you guys know where I went.
For sure. Speaking of Hawks fans, Jared, how's Sierra doing with all this Blackhawks stuff?
She just wants it to be 5 years in the future. She is not prepared for these next few years in the slightest. She doesn't want to even have to sit through this October alone
Yeah.
with me and just sitting there going every game night going, yes, there's more hockey tonight.
And every game night we're gonna be like, no, there's hockey tonight.
We usually start with Chicago games and then turn it off and put the Avs on.
Yeah.
I don't have to do
Yeah.
that right now. They're that bad. It's kind of nice for me.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm still gonna watch my fair share of Hawks games just because I can't not submit myself to the torture. I did the same when they were really awful before the 2010s, so I will continue to do so.
Yes.
Sorry, that probably looked weird. I'm saying hi to my dog. She's under my desk. It's the golden hour in Texas.
Yeah.
It's
Looks
it's
like
nighttime in Florida.
It is still bright and beautiful out here in Colorado. So
But
Yep.
in other news, can we put? Oh, hey, there's Grant.
What's up,
Hi, Grant.
Grant is making an appearance. Grant, wave.
Hi.
You're live on TV.
Sounds so enthralled. Yay!
Hey, I guess we should put out there. We started a fantasy hockey league for pretty much everyone in Belly Up Hockey. That was kind of cool.
Yes,
That-
I am so excited for that league to start. I
It's
cannot
gonna
wait.
be such chaos. Like it's a 16-team league. It's gonna be insane.
Oh yeah.
Talk about deep. Like it's yeah. It's gonna be crazy. 16
love-
It'll be
teams.
fun.
I love that one of the rules too was like it talked about the trades, like we encourage crappy trades.
Hold
What
on,
was the
actually-
saying that you
Hold
put
on, I have it
in-
right here. Give me
Yeah.
one moment. So we have a whole Discord channel and everything. It says we highly endorse unfair trades. If you get burned, get some cold water. That's all
Yep.
it says.
There
I
you go.
love it. It's great.
And Jared can attest to, I mean, at least the people that we had from our older hockey league coming back into this league, just kind of how active that league was as far as trades and all that stuff. So
So after week 1, there was no trades. After week 2, there was 28 trades made. So it gets crazy quickly,
Mhm.
which will be fun.
Yeah.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
I am very excited. So
what division do you guys think is going to be the better division of the two?
Whoa, hockey's a pretty good division. Not gonna lie.
Yeah.
That's gonna be a pretty tough division, but we have the draft lottery coming up in September, so that's gonna be fun. So
Oh, yeah.
we'll
Yeah,
see.
that will
We'll
be.
see what plays out there.
So Jared, are you getting actual ping pong balls for that, or what's going on there?
I haven't decided if we're getting the actual ping pong balls yet. We'll figure it out. I know Beth is really wanting the ping pong balls, so
ping pong balls would be cool.
I'll just swirl it around in the KitchenAid bowl and just pick it out at random.
Mhm.
It'll look like a FIFA World Cup draw. It'll be awesome.
Oh, it's gonna be great.
Group A, you have.
Yeah, I'm pulling up just because I actually have not looked at any of the fantasy stuff yet, which is probably really bad. But
I haven't either. I drafted my football team yesterday off of just nothing. I said, okay, click.
Yeah.
I don't do research. I just don't care. With the football league, I'm like, yeah, I can't. I
That's
can't do it.
fair. That
We
is
did
fair.
add punters this year, so that'll be actually really interesting.
Just remember, punters are people too. For the brand.
Berta.
Ryan, how are your Jets looking this year?
Interestingly enough, I just published an article on bellyupsports.com about 5 bold predictions for the New York Jets in 2022. I think they look pretty good. They went perfect in the preseason. Not that it counts, but I'm looking forward to seeing what the offense can do this year. I'm especially psyched for the offensive line because I want to see how better looking they are compared to the last 3 seasons when they've allowed almost 150 sacks. over the last 3 seasons. So I'm looking for I'm looking for better improvement in pass protection. I'm also looking for them to open up some holes and get the running game going. Oh, she's back.
I'm
Yeah.
back. Am I still robot-y?
Crystal
No,
clear.
No, you're
much better.
Okay, so I heard football talk, but friends, we are not here to talk about football. We are here to talk about the greatest sport in the world,
Yes, we are.
ice hockey.
Quidditch? Oh, no ice.
Oh,
Look, I didn't say the greatest
Sorry,
sport in the
Quidditch is-
wizarding world. I said the greatest sport in the world.
Listen, the fact that people actually do play Quidditch makes me kind of sad and concerned for
Those competitive
the
Quidditch leagues.
for certain generations.
Just
But
wait
it's
till they find a
also
way to
kind of
bring
awesome.
Avatar to life and they bring pro bending into the world. Anyway.
Oh, well,
I prefer stick bending to the other bending. So yeah, let's go. Talk some hockey.
there you go. I think Beth froze up again. Yeah.
Oh no!
Oh no.
I'm also frozen.
But yeah, so this show's all about just what we think how each division is going to play out, from the Pacific to the Metro to the Central to the Atlantic. I mean, it's up to you guys where we want to start here.
I feel like we should start with the fans from the Stanley Cup of the Stanley Cup champions themselves.
Very true.
And saying maybe we want to start with off-season moves. How are you guys feeling about going into preseason, regular season?
Joel, I'll defer to you.
Okay. I'm feeling really good. And in case anyone did not get to read my way too early Central Division's power rankings, I feel like they kept the guys they needed to keep, as well as some intriguing developments down with the Colorado Eagles. So the only thing that I'm a little bit concerned about, as is kind of everyone around the league, is our goalie situation. But as the Avs have kind of proved, they can sort of get by with that league average goaltending and still compete anyways. So losing Kadri hurts. Losing Burakovsky doesn't hurt quite as much, but it still hurts. But I think the pieces that they kept are more than enough to kind of step up and fill those roles, especially with like seeing what Lehkonen did. Talking like career pace as far as numbers go, his last 20 or so games with the Avs. But
I was going to say, like, just as a fan, I mean, obviously the Avs are my second favorite team, but even my dad, who is definitely more of a Canes fan, he'd kind of watch games after we were knocked out and be like, that Lehkonen kid, holy moly.
mm-hmm.
And I said it on Grit and Barrett, which you can also find on the Belly Up Hockey Network. He asked me, who are the main guys you got to resign? And it was immediately Valerian Nichushkin and Arturi Lehkonen. You knew Kadri was gone. You were prepared for that the entire time. But you have guys like Ben Myers, Mikhail Maltsev, Jacob McDonald to an extent who can fill up that bottom six anyways. And maybe it is time for JT Compher to step up. Maybe it is time to ship him out. Who knows? I mean, obviously Chris McFarland and Joe Masakic. What the hell? Joe Masakic. Drink for the screw up.
Mick Sakic?
Cheers to that.
Cheers, bud.
Drink to the screw up on that one. Sakic obviously has an idea what he's doing with this club. I mean, quite obviously he does. When you go 16-4, tough to beat. Without spoiling our episode that's coming out tomorrow, MHP's finally coming back a little bit. Goddamn work schedules, I swear. And without spoiling it too much, we definitely... Colorado really doesn't have a lot to worry about. Goaltending is probably the biggest question mark. But when your defense is probably one of the top defensive cores you've seen in the past 10 years, give or take, I'm thinking all the way back to LA Kings when they had all those good runs, and even Chicago in the early 10s.
Yeah.
You can get by with passable goaltending.
Mm-hmm. I was gonna say too, especially with
I'm not saying
how-
Crawford is passable. Simmer down, Beth.
I was about to have okay.
No, but just given how young Makar is too, and thinking about like, I mean, we don't even know if kid's hitting his prime yet. Like, you guys have a lot to look forward to with that kid, and even with him kind of like centering your core just around that young talent alone is something I'm sure you guys are very excited and looking forward to heavily.
The sleeper in the Central, honestly, is Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
If Otter can stay as hot as he was for 5 games, holy hell, this team is going to be scary.
Mm-hmm.
Because you had really a statistically uncharacteristic year from Ben and Sagan.
Mhm.
And if you get those guys back at 75% of what they've been doing previously, that it's a playoff team that makes it into the second round.
And their coaching change. I mean, that's a guy who knows how to get to and win playoff games.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be interesting to see how he meshes with Dallas. They definitely have some pillars left over that he can use and take advantage of, I think.
Yeah.
I feel like the issue in Dallas, though, is going to be the owner and his comments about how he doesn't like paying people money.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
that
that-
attitude can change things pretty quickly.
I mean, you see what just the rumors and talks about what happens in Vegas does to keep players away from there. Imagine what talks like that can do for a team, like in the Central, no less. Like like 2 teams like that struggling in the same division is not something you want to run into.
Mhm.
So, I mean, it makes it a little easier for those better teams to, obviously management's kind of struggling on that, like on that aspect. What is that going to do for their performance during the regular season? And that that inconsistency almost makes it a little easier for those better teams.
The Central used to be viewed as one of the toughest divisions in hockey
Oh yeah,
a few years ago. Right now, it's a
Not anymore.
3-team race. And in all honesty,
Yeah.
you want to talk about a scary division? Pacific's can get real scary in the next couple of years.
I'll
Yeah.
raise
A
you.
lot
I'll
of
raise
young
you
talent in
the.
the Pacific.
I'll raise you the Atlantic as well.
I was
Atlantic
gonna
is
say-
shaping up to be really like it looks, But yeah, like the Central isn't really the class that it used to be. I'm really interested to see what Nashville does this year with the pieces they kept and with the people they added. I'm sorry, Bailey.
I'm gonna cry. It's fine.
Because they got a legit backup now in Lankinen behind Saros.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
So
man, and by the way, just for housekeeping, it's Lankinen.
Lankinen.
Lankinen. Just for,
Yeah.
the world. He said it himself on the Blackhawks pronunciation guide online, and everybody says it wrong, and it drives me crazy.
Gotcha.
I want to know who Ryan's sleeper team is out of the Central, though.
A good question.
Ryan is so locked in on
seeing
not
how,
taking
how
Tom
I've
Brady
paid
first
so much
overall.
attention, seeing how I've paid so much attention to the hockey since free agency began. I still let's see. I would have to I would have to agree with the consensus in saying Dallas is a sleeper. I mean, even though this is the first I'm hearing about the owner saying, "Oh, I don't want to pay people money." Why are you an owner? Why are you an owner if you don't want to pay salaries? These kind of
No,
salaries.
he doesn't want to pay high salaries to star players.
Oh, wah. So what?
It's part of
Yeah.
business.
Exactly.
That's part of
It's
owning
this
a
is the
hockey
NHL.
team.
This is the NHL now. Like,
Yeah.
if you don't want to pay them salaries, sell the team to Mark Cuban. Honestly, he's right there in the same building. He plays in the same building as your stars. Sell to Mark Cuban. He's got the scratch. You can afford it. I mean, come on.
Yeah. Also, shout out to Justin McElwee from Baseball and Whatever. Go Hawks and go Leafs. Beth is very excited about that, as you can tell.
He's one of my Twitter friends. Okay, we talk Blackhawks.
Someone
Nice.
has to.
And I did notice while I was on vacation that Ottinger did sign that contract. So I
No,
did see
that's-
that. That was like one of the things I kind of noticed when I was on vacation. Otherwise, I was kind of shut off to the world.
That was one of the contracts I've been kind of keeping an eye on too. So it was really exciting, at least for me, just seeing Otter's potential and how he played in playoffs and all it. Like I'm really impressed with that kid. And maybe this is just coming from somebody who's a goalie fanatic, but like that kid's gonna be good.
Ladies love the pads, that's for sure.
Look, we love our fluffy monsters. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, Bailey, what is what would be?
I think I broke Jared.
I think Jared is
No,
broken.
no, it was Ryan.
What's going on?
You can't say that.
Can't say
No,
what?
but what was that?
I said ladies love the pads, like the goal pads, not
Yeah, okay.
Get your mind out of the gutter, child.
Listen, I'm pure as driven snow, so I'm
Just don't go on
my
the
innocent,
Sussy
my,
Saturday
cons-
Discord.
my comments were innocent.
It's true.
They were perfect. They're the perfect comment.
Hmm.
It's true.
Bailey, who's your sleeper in the Central?
In the Central, I don't know. Barring, I'm sorry, Beth, but barring Arizona and Chicago kind of out of the equation, just because, just with all the situations they kind of have going on right now, I feel like they kind of can't be included in that conversation. I don't know. I might have to go. See, I don't know. I might ride the Ryan train and just kind of go with Dallas as well too. Just given, like Jared was mentioning too, the inconsistencies in players that we know to be really really good, and given the management issues going on right now, I mean it's. I'm a firm believer in environment and attitude play a huge part in how a team performs on the ice. I mean, obviously, I know environment, just being a fan of the team that I am, and seeing how we performed in the postseason at home. But yes, I am a firm believer in attitude, not just in the arena, but within the team as well, plays a huge part in performance and stuff like that. And so it'll be interesting to see whether or not I'm right, but I don't have a whole lot of faith in just kind of what I'm seeing on the outside from everything going on the inside. I don't know.
Gotcha. Beth, if you're still with us,
Right here.
gotcha. Your screen's still bugging out a little bit, but
Well, you know, gotta love Xfinity. It's the absolute best, guys. I'm literally right next to my router. So I would say my sleeper in the Central. I'm gonna change it all up here. I'm gonna go with Winnipeg.
Okay.
They've had a coaching change, they've had some moves. You're doing the robot. I'm assuming that's because I sound like one.
Just a
I
little
don't know
bit.
what to do. I don't know what to do at this point. I've tried all the things. I might have to piece out after we talk about the Central, and that's okay because the Hawks are going to be garbage. The Coyotes are playing a 5,000-seat college arena. I don't want to talk about St. Louis or Nashville. It's gross. So I mean, you can raise your eyes all you want, but I didn't hate Ryan.
All I could decipher out of that was 3,500 seat arena. Chicago
5,000.
sucks.
I
St.
think I
Louis,
heard.
Nashville, gross.
I think I
Yeah,
heard
I heard
Bouquet
that.
there somewhere.
Nashville and Blues are gross.
Yep, heard that.
So, but I think the team that can break into the top four would be Winnipeg.
Okay.
And on that note, I'm going to go start my router. I'll be in approximately 12 minutes. That's how long it takes according to the app. It's 12 minutes.
For sure.
Good
We will
lord.
miss our robot friend in the time
Godspeed.
being.
Yes.
Godspeed. to-
Godspeed. Best of luck. May the force be with you.
Um,
Post crossbar 5 hole.
she-
Good luck.
she-
We're all counting on you.
I just want to tell you both good luck. Okay.
We're all counting on you.
Yeah.
So did she say Winnipeg? Did I pick up Winnipeg?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, you did.
What do you guys think about that?
Let me pull up a roster real quick because I mean, Ryan, you probably know a lot more about them if you want to kind of start off and take us into it.
I think Winnipeg's two steps away from being in. There's 2 steps away from being in rebuild mode.
Okay.
Just based on what happened with Paul Maurice last year, you decide, this roster's not. They're deaf to me now. They don't hear me anymore. I can't do anything with this roster. So he left midseason. Roster collapses. Scheifele's kind of, I wouldn't say he's a pariah, but he's after what happened in the post in the after the season ended for Winnipeg and some of the comments he made. I thought he was for sure on his way out the door, but I guess he's too expensive for anybody to really want him. But I believe this roster's window for a Stanley Cup closed, I believe, a season and a half ago. This roster had all the tools to be a Stanley Cup contender, and they just couldn't get over the hump for some reason.
Yeah.
I know they ran into a very hot Montreal team in 2020 or 2021, excuse me. And then Scheifele's suspension, boarding, and subsequent suspension kind of did them in too. Yeah. But I think they're 1 or 2 trades away from going into full rebuild mode. Cheveldayoff is on his way towards rebuilding this roster. So this could be a make or break year. They could contend for a wild card spot, but I want to say, but at the same time, I just have this sense that this roster is going to be fully rebuilt and starting this year. It's just a feeling I have.
Kyle Connor's probably like their most interesting piece of trade bait if you really think about it. I like him more than PLD, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or I was thinking Helbusic, but you're right. It could be Kyle Connor. He's definitely the main trading block. They're going to get at least 1, maybe 2 first-round picks for Kyle Connor.
Their guys are all they're all kind of aging. I feel like Blake Wheeler's going to go as well. He's not going to stick around.
I will say
Hellebuck, not Helbusic. Sorry,
I was gonna say, is that how you pronounce it? And
I meant Hellebuck. Sorry.
Something I will add to that too, though, is NHL Network just released their top 10 goalies of the league this past season, including postseason, and Connor Hellebuck made number 7 on that list. So that's going to be an interesting piece that may potentially kind of help keep them afloat. I mean, looking at his regular season stats, his goals against average came in at 2.97, which isn't horrible. But I mean, I don't know. Falling in the top 10 goalies in the league is no easy feat.
No, but I have a feeling if they're not in a playoff within probably 3 points of a playoff spot come the trade deadline, I think he's going somewhere else. He could go to Colorado for all I know. I mean, if they need a goalie by trade deadline, I can see him going to Colorado for some draft picks. We'll see what Joe McSakic does as the GM.
Joe McSakic.
I'm not living that one down.
Nope. Never.
Okay, so out of the 4 of us, who wins the Central on 3? Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Colorado.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's a no-brainer.
Done. Thank you.
Yeah. No, even with the not having the same team as you had at the end, like winning the cup, it's still a very dangerous team that I think a lot of teams, not just in the Central, but all around the league, are still very scared of playing.
Right.
They've kind of become the class to build up after.
Mm-hmm. Grant never lets me forget it.
And Jared and I talked about this. I want to say it was the last episode that we dropped, the episode before. But the Blues gave us our biggest run for our money besides Tampa Bay, that playoff run. As far as they're the only other team to win games against us. And despite them being competitive against us for the most part, they didn't really do too much this offseason, I don't think.
Yeah.
They lost more than they got back, and they had some some issues that they need to figure out.
Right,
So
and I said it on Grit and Barrett, and I said it multiple times on our podcast, and I said it to you in multiple text messages. If Jordan Bennington isn't knocked out of that series, that series is way different.
Mm-hmm.
It is way different, and maybe it doesn't fall Colorado's way. I mean, he was starting to look like the old Jordan Bennington that won a Stanley Cup against Boston. I mean, it was getting scary, and I was going, "Oh, we are in for a long one." So, but the Pacific, shall we?
yeah, let's get into it. It's a team that saw a lot, or not team, but division that saw a lot of kind of interesting sort of storylines shape up. You know, from Vegas and what they've got going on down there, to Anaheim, to Calgary,
Flames,
to LA, to it's going to be a really interesting division in my opinion. And depending on how teams do in this division, I think one of these teams ekes Dallas out of the playoffs. Maybe. Like, it's going to be really close, but you can't really tell right now. But as far as like Dallas being kind of like that sleeper pick to make the playoffs, a lot of teams in the Pacific will probably have something to say about that this year. But I'm going to defer to Jared for this one here. Jared, who do you have as your, let's go with most improved team?
This has absolutely zero to do with what they did in free agency and in the offseason. This has everything to do off building last year, Los Angeles.
Okay.
Obviously, you can make the case for Calgary with getting Kadri, but they also lost Johnny Hockey.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's a huge drop, and they lost Kachuk.
Yeah.
I mean, in my opinion, Calgary took more steps back than they gained, and unless you're getting Markstrom back to what he was, they're not in a playoff position right now, and they won't be come April. Anaheim, you're still 4 years probably away from really contending.
Mm-hmm.
At least you're probably 2 to 3 away from making a statement by making the playoffs. Arizona just moved to Houston already. Edmonton, obviously Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl. You still have the baggage of Mike Smith. I believe he's still under contract with them. I haven't looked at their roster or their contract situation lately. San Jose, the less said, the better, honestly. Vancouver's such a Jekyll and Hyde team for me that it's hard to tell what's going to happen. They go on this great run in the bubble and then turn around and lay an egg in the truncated season. And then this year, they don't even. This past season, they had literally nothing going for them. And Vegas, well, welcome to Cap Hell. How you guys doing?
Yeah.
So for me, it's LA. If Quentin Byfield takes one step up, it's going to be a huge, huge boost for them. That's all it's going to take is one step up from Quentin Byfield.
Yeah, you and I both agree on that Kings statement. We talked about that a little bit in our last podcast, but just to say something different than the Kings, I think they're still going to finish. Like it'll probably be your top 3 of Oilers, Calgary, and the Kings.
Mm-hmm.
Where they kind of finish, I still don't know yet. But I don't know. I think Calgary surprised some people last year with, because I remember everyone was picking either Vegas or Edmonton to come out of the Pacific last year. Every single person,
Mm-hmm.
either Vegas or Edmonton. And I think people were surprised that Calgary put up 111 points and ran away with that division last year.
Yeah.
Although they did lose some pieces, I think them getting Mackenzie Weegar is going to strengthen their defense. That's already pretty solid with Hanifin and Shillington. Kadri adds that grit that they were missing against Edmonton second round. and I don't know. They lost so much point production with Johnny Hockey and Kachuk, but they gained back actually more points per overall. So it's going to be really interesting. Welcome back, Beth.
Hello. I would like to make 2 comments. Arizona is in the Central Division, not the Pacific.
I know.
And also Vegas is in Cat Hell area, like whatever's below Hell, but in the 8th circle of Cat Hell.
Yeah.
You're in a bad spot.
Yeah.
Yep. It's not good.
So, Beth, since you're just joining us again, what team do you think has improved the most in the Pacific?
I think I'm gonna have to echo the Kings. I mean, the Ducks have a lot of talent with Zegras and Milano, but they're not quite at the point that they need to be to really make a good postseason run. So I really think the Kings have made the moves and they've got a little more experience on the docket. I don't see Seattle making any vast improvements anytime soon, nor do I see Vancouver with their 2 Elias Petterssons significant quite yet. I mean, the Sharks are probably going to be okay, but the Pacific to me always feels like a weak division. And I mean, Vegas has no goalies right now, so
Yeah. Leonard out for this season. I think it was in an Achilles surgery, right?
I believe it was his hip or his knee. Can't remember. Just to give you an idea, Vegas Cap Hill, they are currently $10 million over the cap.
That's after getting rid of Patches too. That's hilarious.
$10 million.
Yeah.
Close to 10.5. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how they're gonna deal with that.
Yeah. I don't know.
It's not fun.
No.
And, they did it to themselves.
This is true.
They angered the hockey gods, and this is what you get.
And they decided it'd be a great job of handing that 10 million glass salary over to us. So
yeah,
we're doing great.
The hockey gods saw their expansion draft and they're like, wait, this isn't allowed to happen.
And then the hockey gods were like, you just traded your Vesna winning goaltender for literally a handshake. Watch this.
That's just asking for a smiting.
I mean, that is asking, if you mess with flour, then you go get burned.
Mm-hmm. This is true.
Very true. Bailey, who do you think has improved the most in the Pacific?
So, and take this with a grain of salt because I probably do not pay as much attention to the Pacific as I probably should. Being a hockey fan, if we're kind of getting away from the okay, what's going to happen next season in the NHL and kind of looking a little deeper into the teams, I'm excited to see what San Jose does because they, for the Brent Burns trade, got Stevie Lawrence and Eetu Makiniemi, which Makiniemi was the goalie that we rode for, or that our AHL team rode for a good portion of the season before he got injured. So prospect wise, and that's just kind of where I look because that's where I'm kind of the most knowledgeable when it comes to this division. I'm excited to see what kind of happens in the next few years with those additions with San Jose. Now, granted, they are losing that kind of veteran presence in Brent Burns. Not that he was that great on the team anyway. He had great moments, and I'm excited to see him play on an actually capable team. But when we kind of start talking at the NHL level then too, it's between Los Angeles and Calgary for me because Los Angeles, you look at I don't know. I'm still stuck on the fact that Jonathan Quick, I'm convinced, I don't know what's making me think it, but Jonathan Quick's making an interesting move this season. He's going to do something great. You heard it here first. Calgary, yes, they did lose Johnny Hockey in a very interesting deal. Rumors leading up to that deal. But they did get a little bit of that presence back in Kadri. So you also got to think about how that's going to pan out. And I'm very interested to see how it ends up panning out in the long run.
Yeah. I'm not quite like, I don't get how people are saying they lost more than they got back.
No, and that's what I'm saying. I mean, Johnny Hockey,
Yeah.
he's called Johnny Hockey for a reason. Like
Yeah.
like dude's a legend in the league, but so is Kadri from this past season.
Yeah, and you get a guy like Huberdeau back who had a 15-point season.
Oh,
as well.
yeah.
I mean, and then on top of that, you add a Stanley Cup champion. Like, how much better can you do really?
A
for
guy
a
who can
team that had
produce,
111? Like,
nonetheless.
yeah. Ryan, what about you, brother?
For me, I think it's right now it's between Edmonton and Calgary. It's an arms race in the great province of Alberta. You look at Calgary. Yeah, they lost Johnny Gaudreau. Yeah, they lost Matthew Tkachuk. But look what they got back. I mean, they got Jonathan Huberdeau, managed to sign him to a long-term deal. They get Uyghur in that trade with Florida for Tkachuk. Solidifies their defense. They wind up getting the money. They send Monahan to Montreal, which frees up enough money to sign Nazem Kadri. So that was just genius. That's playing a long game right there.
Yeah.
In terms of salary, the salary cap and whatnot. Now they're gonna get their AHL team closer, so they can manage to find themselves basically walk across the street for getting called up instead of having to go from Stockton to Calgary.
Yeah.
So you have those. So you have that there, and with Edmonton, they get Jack Campbell. They retain Kulak. They keep Kane, which I know is not everybody's favorite player, but he did enough. He was a good goal. He was a clutch goal scorer when it came to that series against Calgary. So they have Calgary's number right now, at least in terms of the playoffs. So I think right now it's that Pacific Division is going to be between Calgary and Edmonton.
Yeah.
And whoever wins that division is probably going to go to the Western Final again. Los Angeles, I think they're a year away from contending. I have a question marks about their goaltending. I know Jonathan Quick retired, Brown retired, but they got some solid pieces in there. Anaheim, I think they're a year or two away from being in the playoffs. Vegas, you sold your soul, and now you're reaping the punishment for selling your soul this early to get success, to get people in the building, and now you're paying for it.
Yeah.
Vancouver, I waffle when it comes to Vancouver, just because I don't know who they are. I mean, they got a solid team that can score, but they're streaky when it comes to they're so streaky. So I don't know, right now, summarize. Right now, it's Calgary and Edmonton are 1 and 2 right now in that division, just because of based on what they did in the offseason to improve.
Well, Ryan, I don't know where you heard Jonathan Quick retiring. He's playing this season.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
But it was Dustin. Okay, it was
Dustin Brown retired.
Okay,
Yeah, Dustin
it
Brown
was one of those
retired.
guys from those
Yeah,
mid-2000s teams. I thought it was.
I immediately went to Google. I was like, is
I
that
was
correct?
like, wait, did Jonathan Quick retire?
Like I said,
Benny was like
I
hyping
must
up Quick
must
and
be
then-
tired because
Breaking
And then
news
Ryan-
from Ryan
Quick
McCarthy.
retired.
Breaking news, sorry.
All Jonathan
Insider.
Quick.
You saw my
I
face
retract
roll.
that.
Oh
I
my
retract. It was Dustin Brown. I misspoke. I retract.
Well, here's the thing with Edmonton. I know obviously they've got McDavid, Draisaitl, and so on. However, they are still $6.7 million over the cap, so they've got to make moves because
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean that's some significant stuff that's going to have to be traded out of the system to shed some salary. And I mean, I don't see like McDavid or Draisaitl, Kane, I don't see them going anywhere. So they're going to have to figure out how to move out almost $7 million in salary.
Yeah.
So it's hard to say where they're going to compete just because who are they moving?
I mean, they got to shed who? Probably Nugent Hopkins, Jesse Puljujarvi,
Yeah.
Derek
But those
Ryan.
are
They
like-
just
Big
re-signed
Linus Tudor.
Puljujarvi.
Yeah, I think they just re-signed.
They just
Puljujarvi.
re-signed Puljujarvi.
But I don't know. Edmonton, in my eyes, they addressed what they needed to, but they didn't address what the team should have addressed, which was their blue line, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, they needed to like get stuff done with signing Kane and stuff and all that. Jared even put it out in a tweet. We're going to get to see Kadri versus Kane for a good couple of games here.
Yeah, that's going to be
yeah.
a really exciting Battle of
season.
Alberta, because those two do not get along, and it was very evident when the Avalanche played the Oilers and Kane leveled that hit that ended up breaking Nazem Kadri's thumb.
Yeah.
So that's the Battle of Alberta is going to be next level this season, I think.
Oh yeah.
Definitely. And yeah, Arizona, or not Arizona. Jared's got me thinking Arizona now. Yeah, the Ducks, like, they'll be fun to watch. Like, I love Zegras and watching Troy Terry. He's a DU kid.
I mean, NHL 23 dual cover feature Trevor Zegras with hockey legend Sarah Nurse.
Yeah. I don't know. He gets a lot of hype for that for the Michigan goal. He wants to start calling it the Zegras, but I know for a fact that someone in here would disagree with that. Being
You know
a big
it.
Svetch
Yes.
fan.
Well, and
If
And
we're
here's
calling
the
anything, we call it the
thing-
leg because Mike Legg did it for the
Yeah.
University.
Yeah.
of Michigan.
it's Mike Legg, not the Michigan. It's the Mike Legg goal. But the behind the net assist like that can be the Zegras.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
That was gorgeous. I mean, teams everywhere have started practicing that nonsense because it's kind of a genius move as long as you keep that stick below the crossbar.
Mhm.
That's a good goal.
Oh yeah.
And the team we haven't touched on at all, Seattle.
I touched on them. I said that they're not going to get any better.
Oh, see, I didn't hear that. I think
Yeah,
it's in the robot
see-
case.
Well-
Take it from somebody who's actually worked with Ron Francis in management. Not going anywhere, at least not for right now.
They got some interesting pieces in Burakovsky and Bjorkstrand. What they're going to do with them, I'm not really sure.
Well, don't forget Matty Beniers. You also got Jaden Schwartz, Jordan Eberle, Shane Wright, who they just drafted. He could come in and step and be in pretty big impact early on, but their defense is just suspect at best and passable at worst.
For the most part, they're still kind of an AHL roster with a few NHL stars. That's how they drafted their team.
Yeah. Do they still employ the league's second oldest man?
No, Mark Giordano got traded
He got traded.
at the trade deadline to Toronto.
But they also got crackhead himself, Brandon Tanev, still. So
I mean, Mr. Icy Ghosts.
Right.
Also, Gary has opinions apparently about Seattle. So
I can't do that. Too long. My eyes. There we go.
everybody, do your ghost face. Ready?
Ah,
His ghost face.
Ryan.
it's the stash.
It's the stash for sure.
Stash.
You almost
yeah,
kind
no,
of
I
gave
don't-
me some Steve Harvey vibes there.
He just needs a snazzy suit.
Oh man. So I mean, we could kind of do like the West as a whole now. Like, who do you guys think's going to be? We'll say like your teams for the playoffs if you want.
Aside from the obvious answer,
Yeah.
We all know what one answer is. It's Colorado.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so obvious Jared just walked away to turn a light on.
could have made another drink to solidify that answer.
I'll drink to that, friend.
Yeah. I would say obviously Colorado's making the playoffs, Calgary, Edmonton. I I see Minnesota and St. Louis making the playoffs again, but those wild card positions, I mean,
I'm putting my money on Nashville for that wild card.
I'm putting one of the wild card spots as Winnipeg. But
Interesting.
the Pacific, because I mean, Vegas is not. I don't think they're making the playoffs this year. They've got to figure out a whole lot of cap space and find a like NHL caliber goaltender whilst doing all of that. So, and then I mean, the Pacific wildcard race always seems to come down to the last couple of games of the season. Well, the Western wildcard race always comes down to the last couple games of the season. So, I really don't even know who to guess.
Yeah, I want to say Dallas beat out Vegas like it was super late last year when it happened.
Oh yeah, it was like
no.
within the last week of the season.
Yeah.
Pardon me, sir. The Chicago Blackhawks eliminated the Vegas Golden Knights from the playoffs by defeating them in a shootout.
There you go.
And then the Dallas game ended after that.
Gotcha.
Dallas did not make that elimination. Chicago did. And it
Classic
was
Dallas.
beautiful. It was beautiful.
Classic Dallas backing into a playoff spot.
Yeah, well, you know, got to do what you got to do sometimes. But yeah, no, the Blackhawks eliminated the Golden Knights from the playoffs. And I actually called that happening. And I texted Zach, my podcast co-host, and I was like, did I really put that into the universe and then it happened?
There you
Imagine the hockey gods actually listening to me for once.
I mean, it doesn't happen very often. So
Yeah.
go.
I don't know. I have an interesting feeling. Maybe this is just bias playing into it and seeing my beloved Nino go there. But I don't know. It, like, as much as I don't want to say it just because of my allegiances to Colorado, I have an interesting feeling about Nashville this year.
Yeah. In my power rankings, and I'll kind of agree with that, they closed the gap between them and St. Louis more so than the gap between them and the fifth place team, in my opinion.
Yep.
They re-signed their guys that they needed to. They kept their identity. And
Yeah.
if Saros is healthy in the playoffs, who knows? Like,
It's going to be dangerous.
yeah. Like Saros is my candidate to win the Vezina this year.
I mean, I could see that.
That's fair.
Depending on how he returns after his injury, because let's be honest, when goalies return from injuries, it is a question mark. We saw it with Corey Crawford in Chicago after his first concussion.
Yeah.
He would come back and then be out a few games later with more post-concussion issues.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Carey Price is another good example of a goaltender going out with a significant injury and struggling to return. It's not an easy position to come back in when you're returning from an injury.
No. And that's what scares me most about our situation too, is getting our star 1A goaltender back off of an MCL injury. Injuries aren't fun. And the one thing I will say about, because what was Saros's injury? I don't know why I'm blanking on that. Was that a concussion?
Let me pull that up here. Go ahead and keep talking. I will have the injury report in just a moment. Though it will probably say upper body injury, but you know.
Okay, yeah. So, I mean, it just kind of going on concussions too. I mean, we kind of saw the same issues with Bowen Byram.
Oh, it was ankle to the post.
Yeah.
Oof.
That's not fun. But yeah, I mean, concussions are one of those really, really finicky things just because your brain is a very, very fragile organ. And I mean, as a soccer player, I've had my fair share of concussions. I know many people who have had multiple, one of them sleeping right next to me. Jared, yeah, you as well. But I used to have a soccer teammate who took medication for it and was forbidden from her trainer to do headers just because of how prone she was to them, because of how many she had had from playing the sport. And it's not fun. And it's something that will stick with you for the rest of my life. I mean, I'll say I've only had 2 or 3 and my memory is forever changed because of the first one that I had. So
I mean, I'll tell you, I still deal with post-concussion syndrome to this day. And the last time I had a concussion, I was 19.
Yeah.
I mean, it never goes away. It really never will. It sucks.
and other injuries have similar aspects too. I mean, chronic injuries are just a weird, finicky thing, and even if they are kind of acute in the moment happenings and injuries, like they have a tendency to stick with you and will forever change the way that players play. And we saw that, and we see that in Carey Price and guys like Bowen Byram who have decided to take it extra easy, and it could potentially damage their futures as players and as stars in the league.
Huge stick taps to Bowen Byram being like, I need to go. Like, I need to recover from this. I need time. And
Absolutely.
Also, big ups to the Abs for being like, take your time.
Do your thing.
Shaggy Von Doom is here.
I've heard us talking about the legend Bo Byram because
Kyle.
in the chat, it's Kyle Sullivan, Mr. Shaggy Von Doom. And yes, sir, this is where the party is at.
I mean,
I love it.
for my money, really quickly, the West is 4-4 for the first time in a long time. You go 4-4 out of both sides.
Okay.
Obviously, at the aforementioned Colorado, out of Central St. Louis and Minnesota. And I'm going to go a much different direction than almost everybody here. I think Dallas gets in. Dallas, if they can, like we were talking about earlier, if Ottinger can play the way he was just for even half the season, Dallas has a really good shot. Same with Sagan and Bennett. They start picking it back up. And Jason Robertson's another really big piece. If he gets going again, he'll be really fun to watch. And then obviously in the Pacific, you got Calgary, Edmonton, LA, and then I'm going to take the super sleeper here, Seattle.
Okay.
I will
If they
say-
can get decent production from the old guard and the new guys and get a little glimpse of how decent Philip Grubauer can actually be and a capable Martin Jones as their new backup, they might have a chance instead of having Chris Drieger play 20 some odd games.
I will say, kind of talking about my pick for Dallas is my sleeper earlier. I hope I eat my words. But the thing is, too, with Ottinger really being the only good thing that I'm looking forward to seeing from them, it's a little scary to put all of your faith for the team in a goaltender who's shown
You
a
got to
bunch of
watch
potential.
Jason Robertson play.
Yeah. Well, and I mean,
Robertson's a
Man,
beast.
he is a
amazing.
game changer. In person, it is amazing.
and
I-
I've never had the privilege of having the chance to sit and focus on those aspects of Dallas as a team too. And like I said, I'd love to eat my words and be able to say like, okay, Dallas is going to be that fourth place team. It's almost kind of the same situation we were in last season where it could go down to the last few days of the regular season. And we may not know.
That is Central Division tradition, is going down to the wire to figure out who the final spot's going to. So
Basically.
Colorado, like game 82, to have a word.
But yeah, to your point, Jared, Jason Robertson, he is electric with them. He's like one of their lone sort of bright spots, just when you look at that sort of core too. And I want to say he had like 120 some odd points in 128 games. Like he killed it for him as far
And
as
Dallas still has $6 million under the cap.
yeah.
I mean, they got plenty of time to add pieces if they want. I mean, don't
unlike
forget
most-
Yanni Hakanpää, Miro Heiskanen, Esa Lindell is still there. I mean, they're set.
They lost Klingberg, so their blue line will take a little bit of a hit. But I could see where you're coming from with it.
125 and 128 games.
I was literally just looking that up. Cool.
Thank
Yeah.
you, Cap
I was
Friendly.
I was looking that up as well, but I mean, Robertson had a 79-point season last year, had 41 goals, 38 assists in 74 games. He's over a point per game player, and he is definitely a game changer in Dallas. But I would like to see them succeed. I mean, it's nice to see hockey succeed in non-traditional hockey markets.
Yeah.
So that's always a great thing to see. It's good to see some parity in the league. It's nice to not see the same team always
sure.
just, it's like the Eastern Conference halfway through the season, it was like, okay, cool, like their playoff rankings are set.
Yeah.
It's nice to see it change up a little bit.
For
You know,
sure.
somebody I would also kind of like to bring to the table for Dallas as well is Mason Marchment.
Oh,
Oh yeah,
great
they
dude.
did get him.
Yeah,
They did. And he
So-
changed his number this season to honor his father who recently passed away.
yeah. Because just kind of looking at his previous stats coming from Florida. First season in Florida, 2 goals, 8 assists. Second season in Florida, 18 goals, 29 assists.
Mhm.
So that is a huge gap for me. And to go off of a team that just got swept by the Lightning onto a Dallas team that is still very uncertain, but has an interesting amount of potential. I'll be like, he's going to be my guy that I might be keeping an eye on besides Ottinger on this team.
Oh yeah. Well, and I mean, it'll be interesting to see how he develops around guys like Jamie Benn and Tyler Seguin.
Oh, absolutely.
And I mean, they're definitely kind of solidifying a younger core to take the reins when the day comes where Jamie Benn and Tyler Seguin are not playing hockey anymore. So it should be interesting to see what happens in Texas.
Yeah, I've got Nashville and Dallas like right on that cusp, like as far as teams go, and yeah, for me, it's got to be Colorado, Minnesota, and St. Louis from the Central. I'm gonna say Nashville just because I think they might sneak in. And for the Pacific, it'll be between Edmonton and Calgary for like the top 2 spots. McDavid and Draisaitl will breeze through the regular season. I think Huberdeau and company will do the same over in Calgary. And I think it's going to be between the Kings will be in there, and then it's going to be between the Canucks and the Ducks.
Okay.
All right.
My 4th playoff spot there. So.
All righty.
So shall we move over to the Eastern Conference of the NHL? I know us Western Conference fans do kind of outweigh the Eastern Conference fans on this live stream.
We do a little bit.
Just a smidge, but you know.
Bailey counts as like half, I guess.
Yeah,
I'm like, no, I'm
half
like,
each.
no, I'm 3/4
3/4.
Eastern, I think, because you got to remember, I've spent the first 18 years of my
That's
life
fair.
over
That's
there.
fair.
Avs are a pretty new team for me.
That's fair.
So,
Yeah, I mean, we're at our hour mark, so it makes sense to switch conferences.
before we do that, do we have any shout outs to give to wonderful sponsors?
I mean, we have our amazing Belly Up sponsor,
Canadips.
Dips. So for those who are not familiar, I know Ryan, do you use Canadips?
No, I don't.
No.
But I know people who do, and they
Okay,
say
well-
it's a wonderful product built, which is grown in Humboldt County, California. So it's made in the
is.
USA.
It is, and it is 100% THC free. It is CBD only. They actually test their products. I read their FAQ page because I was concerned. So it is 100% CBD. There is no THC in any of their products that they ship across the United States. And if you go to CanadipCBD.com/bellyup20, you get 20% off your order. They have an assortment of flavors.
Oh, yeah.
They've got their standards, citrus, mint, etc. But, you know, they like to throw in fun flavors like ice cream cake and watermelon and the palmy, which is like an Arnold Palmer kind of situation. So go ahead and check out the flavors that they have. It's little pouches. They're not messy at all. And the plastic containers have a little storage tin for you to put your spent pouches in. So it is pretty awesome.
I know one of your favorite ones, and the one that kind of sticks out to me, Beth, was that blue tasting one.
Oh, yes, the one that tastes like blue. That would be this one, Blue Dream. I don't know how to describe it, but I can tell you if you're a child of the 90s, it tastes blue.
Taste.
It tastes blue.
Okay.
It tastes blue.
It tastes blue.
Apparently.
I cannot pinpoint what the exact flavor is, but
Like
when
blue
you
Otter
have some,
Pop, blue Gatorade. Blue
That's the
Orchid.
thing. She can't
Yeah.
figure it out.
I
It tastes
can't-
blue.
it tastes blue. Like if you know what blue things taste like, that is what it tastes like.
That's fair.
Like I'm imagining like blue raspberry ice
Yeah.
pop kind of vibes almost.
Blue Airhead, maybe.
Blue
Oh.
Airheads?
I think Blue Airhead might be the closest one because those were definitely like the top-notch
Mhm.
Airhead flavor.
Oh yes.
So Blue Airhead might be the closest thing
Bailey,
to
I've
the
joined
Blue
you on
Dream
the
flavor.
on the wine train.
Oh, getting bougie
Cheers.
over here.
Yes, in my friend's cup.
Nice.
Yes.
I love it. Love it. Love it. Love it.
Very
They
nice.
look like little Funko Pops. It's kind of fun.
Yeah.
Oh.
But that seems to have stepped away for a little
Got
bit.
Comcasted.
Yeah, apparently so. Axed.
Welcome to
But-
Unbearable Sports, brought to you by Belly Up. By Belly Up.
Who did it?
So
Shows
apparently
live stream. Oh my
somebody
goodness.
just started a show and kicked me out of StreamYard. So let me fix everything.
How rude.
Like changed colors, the whole 9 yards. This is just insanity.
This is now Unbearable Sports, where
It's
we're
an
talking
unbearable
about
sports.
Yeah,
takeover.
Look, we were talking football earlier.
Well, we talk
This
about
is-
things that are completely unbearable. First on the docket, the NBA.
Heyo.
Oh,
Ayo.
Dear basketball, we're better. Love hockey.
Next up on
All
Unbearable
right.
Sports, why is pickleball on ESPN? Let's find this out later.
Look, I ask
But
my
first,
friends
LeBron
all the
James
time.
update.
Shade.
Well,
What
first,
certain
LeBron James
things.
stubbed his pinky toe on his kitchen table this morning.
All
We're
right,
on
so we
SportsCenter.
are back to Belly Up Network Hockey. Thank you very much. Colors changed, background back. That was fun.
I love how chaotic it's becoming.
I mean,
That's a good thing.
chaos is my brand. It's fun.
Yes. But yeah, are we ready to talk some Eastern Conference hockey?
Let's
Yeah.
do this.
So
You want to start with the
Metro-
Metro or the Atlantic?
Let's do the Atlantic first. Save my favorite for last.
all right,
So
Ryan.
on to the Metro.
Yeah. All right. So Atlantic wise, Ryan, how do you think the Atlantic's shaping up this year?
let's take a look. So definitely not Montreal. They're in a rebuild, but their future's bright, as is Ottawa's. Detroit, I have a Detroit as my sleeper. I thought they would be kind of a sleeper last year, but the wheels fell off the wagon. But I had them. They've done enough in free agency the last 2 seasons that I think they could possibly contend for a wild card berth this year. So I got them as my sleeper. Right now, it's between Florida and I think Florida is the team in the division right now. Now that they have a new coach with Paul Maurice, they have Matthew Tkachuk wrapped up for quite some time. I know Huberdeau's a big loss. I know Uyghur's a big loss, but I think Maurice is good enough a coach, and I think they have a decent enough system there that's in place that they could still remain as the top contender in that division. I've got it Florida, Toronto, Boston, Tampa. Actually, I'm sorry. Tampa, Detroit, Boston, Buffalo, Ottawa, Montreal.
Okay.
Interesting. And see, I may kind of disagree on the Ottawa front. I feel like they made some very interesting moves this offseason that makes them a little bit scary to me. And just talking from somebody who's exactly not in their division, because I'm going to pull up the team real quick and just kind of look at this.
I mean, they did get my sweet boy Alex DeBrincat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so
So-
that's the big point that I kind of want to make in a guy like Alex DeBrincat, adding that aspect to the team.
You got Claude Giroux too.
Claude Giroux, yeah. The goalie front is a little bit weak still, I think.
It's
I mean,
still
you've got
Squiffy. That's why I have them ranked
Yeah.
where they are.
so and it like that goaltending aspect I think is what kind of not keeps them at the top for me, but still makes them more interesting. Given the additions that they made this past offseason, makes them a little more interesting than they were last season.
So they kept Anton Forsberg, they signed Cam Talbot, and they got rid of Matt Murray.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, I think Talbot may be an upgrade over Murray.
Yeah.
He had some good stints with Minnesota, but for me, I have the Lightning finishing on top of that division still.
The
Followed
one
by-
problem with that being is their cap space and how many long-term contracts they decided to sign this past
Yeah,
offseason.
And Palat
just
signed
what
with New
they
Jersey in
do.
the off season too. That
They-
was a huge loss.
They did get worse on paper, but they also extended a lot of guys. As Bailey said, they might be in cap space hell, but does that really matter for a team like the Lightning? They proved that it hasn't before.
I mean,
That's fair.
they'll just do what they normally do, and someone will go out with a long-term injury that requires significant work, and then they'll be back for their first game.
And they won't be on the cap.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they'll go on LTIR with Bolt Sledge and Brent Seabrook, and they'll hang out together. I mean, they'll just do what the Bolts do. But I mean, with Ottawa, you brought up Alex DeBrincat. Don't get me wrong, I love Alex DeBrincat. The kid played with Patrick Kane.
Yeah.
His numbers are gonna look stupid better because those two just knew where each other was on the ice for several seasons.
Mm-hmm.
There's no Patrick Kane in Ottawa.
No.
And those numbers definitely get inflated some for pretty much. I mean, same with Dylan Strome. His numbers looked really great after coaching changes were made because he was put back on a line with Patrick Kane and Alex DeBrincat. So
I will say though, and as wonderful as I think Patrick Kane is, you also got to think too, maybe they're not on the same level, but he's got guys like Brady Tkachuk and Tim Stutzla on the team as well to kind of
Batherson.
and Batherson to collaborate with as well. So those
Yes,
are
but-
interesting points to kind of keep in mind for Kitty.
it took
For
it took a season or two for Kane and DeBrincat to get that like mind connection where they just know where each other is on the ice.
Yeah,
So I don't
Absolutely.
see that. I don't see that coming with anybody in Ottawa this season, and maybe not even
That's
next
fair.
season.
that's fair.
Yeah.
But once he does kind of make that connection with his line mates, yeah, he's gonna. Those numbers are gonna go back up. But I mean, anybody who plays on a line with Patrick Kane is gonna have a lot of assists or a lot of goals. Kane had like 66 assists this season.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's not afraid to pass the puck like he used to be in his younger days.
Mhm.
And so his line mates have great numbers because Patrick Kane passes them the puck 66 times a season.
yeah. For me, I've got the Lightning, the Leafs, the Panthers, and the Senators edging the Red Wings by like that much.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Red Wings did a lot to improve as far as getting Husso and Perron and keeping the guys that they have there with like Mo Sider. I mean, they Lucas Raymond, like they keep basically their forward core together. Husso's an upgrade for sure.
I was going to say that goaltending is going to be interesting.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I think they still do have Nedeljkovic.
They do.
So
Baby
that'll be
Ned.
interesting. He's always been promising, I thought. But
See, and the problem for Ned with me is, don't get me wrong, he came from our system. I love him. But they did not give him enough time to develop to become the goalie that he should be. And I think after the performance that he put on for us in the playoffs, opened up an opportunity to become a cash grab. And that's all it was. And I mean, you saw from this past season and the season before, he's very undisciplined in the crease, where I kind of see, and that's those are key signs to a guy that did not have enough time to develop when he absolutely needed it. Like when he was done with playoffs, the smart move would have been going back down to the AHL, giving himself another year or so to work in our AHL system and then coming up and then going for that cash grab. But honestly, he made the best out of a situation he was put in. He made hella bucks
Yeah,
for the situation he was put in. I just don't think it worked out for Detroit.
for sure. And I think like I don't know, with my prediction, you'll have Ottawa going up against Toronto round 1. And I will laugh when when Ottawa beats them round 1.
Oh, it's going to happen.
See, I don't know if Toronto's going to finish that high. Matt Murray may have been a stellar goaltender in the past, but he aged like 20 years while he was in Ottawa. Like he looks like an entirely different human being than when he did when he was in Pittsburgh. And I don't think I think Toronto might squeak in with, like, by the luck of Austin Matthews, they might squeak into a wild card position. Ottawa had 73 points last season. They were in the basement of their division.
Yeah.
And Matt Murray is the goaltender in Toronto. So I think Boston kind of falls out this year. Just because of how good that division is and with the injuries that they're facing right now. Like they won't get their team back until like December, January, like their full team. Yeah.
So I think Boston falls off pretty heavily. But Ryan or Jared, what are y'all's thoughts on the Atlantic?
Jared, you want to take this one?
Oh, sure. I was going to see if you.
I was already at.
It's like the Spider-Man.
I thought I gave my thoughts already, but apparently they were incomplete. But whatever.
I mean, I can see Ottawa getting in, but I don't know if I think Ottawa's a year away from getting in. I don't think this year's the year. They got to get that chemistry in a little bit better. Obviously, you can see all the videos on your favorite socials of DeBrincat and Giroux working 2-on-1s in the offseason. But, I mean, obviously, Tampa, Toronto. I think Boston's kind of on their last leg of getting in before they kind of hit that rebuild mode.
Bostonians are going to love that.
Oh, they're going to be shambles, and we are here for it. I'm torn between Ottawa getting in and Detroit getting in all honesty. I mean, I've got a buddy who's a Detroit fan. I've told him since the season ended, I'm like, you guys are probably a year away from making it. If you make it in the next 2 years, you're probably an 8 seed, and that's a good thing because you don't want those high expectations coming back into Hockey Town.
Oh yeah,
which it has been Hockey Town since the late 2000s. So
not anymore.
Heyo.
I think Florida's done for a while. Buffalo is probably 10 years still from figuring it out until the Pagulas sell the franchise.
Yep.
Montreal
10 years and a whole bunch of first round draft picks away still.
Yeah. They're on the 10-year guys are playing. It's crazy. Montreal's another interesting one. I don't think Slafkovsky comes in and makes that huge impact that would get them into the playoffs.
They have him CHL right now.
Yeah.
Right.
So I was going to say he's not even playing in the big leagues. So.
Yeah, if he's not even going to play, then they really got no shot. I mean, Cole Caulfield could make another step up. But, I mean, if Carey Price is done, I mean, that buyout is going to be ugly.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They got rid of
signed through 25-26.
They got rid of
that dead cap space is going to murder them.
Right.
Didn't they get rid of Petrie too? He's with Boston now.
I think so. Yeah.
I feel like that's right. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, he is with Boston.
Yeah.
But yeah, if Carey Price is done, they're going to be in cap hell. I mean, they already are in cap hell with Carey Price on IR. They're still $6 million over cap. So Montreal is going to struggle.
And they're going to be if Montreal if he retires early or whatever it is, I mean, he's going to be on the hook for damn near $10 million still a year.
10.5 a year till 25-26.
I mean, Bobby Bonilla Day might get renamed to Carey Price Day.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want Carey Price to be done. Like, I feel like he's got more in the tank. He actually like left social media for a while, and his wife has been like fielding comments from fans to him.
Shaggy.
Sorry, I just read
Shaggy.
Kyle's comment. Oh my god.
Oh my god. Kyle.
Holy shit!
Oh goodness gracious!
Welcome to Sussy Saturdays with MHP and Belly Up Sports. Jesus
Dusty
Christ.
Sundays going on over here. Goodness
I'm going to retract what I
gracious.
said previously. I think Toronto misses the playoffs this year.
Ooh.
I don't think their goaltending is good enough. And I don't
mean-
think that their core has proven to be the game changers that need to be. Austin Matthews can only do so much before he can't do it anymore.
I mean, the
Yeah.
thing is though, like they're a 1 maybe 2 man team.
Yeah.
I mean, you
What
can't
in the hell happened to William Nylander? That dude has been on a milk carton
Yeah.
for 2 years now, at least.
right now it's the Matthews and Marner show
Yeah,
up in
that's it.
Toronto. That's it.
Tavares will show
You
occasionally.
can't
like, once
rely on
every 10
Alex
games.
Kerfoot to play 2C and get you 50 points a year. He's not a
Nope.
2C. And he's not a 50-point a year guy.
Nope.
There's a reason he got
No.
shipped off from Colorado because he's not that guy.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Completely overhauled their goaltending room too.
Yeah.
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 They're done.
And I mean, the goalie tandem in Toronto right now is a bit of a nightmare.
Was not much better than last year's though, because
I mean,
Is
Jack
the
Campbell
Atlantic
had,
the worst
Jack-
division in hockey right now?
Jack Campbell was all right, but they also had Peter Mrazek on that team too. So
You mean Chicago Blackhawk Peter Mrazek?
you mean Carolina Hurricanes, former Carolina Hurricane Peter Mrazek. So
Yeah, but
you
he-
could argue,
he's
you could argue for
currently
the
a member of the
Metropolitan being the worst,
Yeah.
but
That's a
Atlanta-
really that's a good question. I think the Metro's top heavy in comparison. Because the Metro, you have these awful teams like, well, the Devils might be a little bit improved, but the Isles and Flyers are going to be in for it.
I would say based on last year's
with the
thing-
Atlantic, you really only have the Sabres and Montreal really as like the basement dwellers.
Yeah.
See,
Um,
Buffalo's such a weird team because they've actually,
They went on a
They-
run
they-
at the beginning of last season. I was shocked.
yeah. I mean, it's based on the fact that they finally dropped that dead weight in Jack Eichel,
Yeah.
but they just can't. For some reason, they can't figure out their goaltending. Craig Anderson is their starting goaltender right now, and Eric Comrie is their backup.
yeah.
Craig Anderson is a good human being, okay? The
I know
fact that
Craig
for the team
Anderson's a
photos
good
they put
human
him in
being.
a
I'm
Colorado
just saying
Avalanche
he's- I
legend
think-
Craig Anderson.
I'm speaking of
Let's-
Norfolk
let's
Admirals
wait.
legend Craig Anderson. Thank you.
Whoa.
Oh yeah. He played for the team when my dad worked for the team. We used to share Twizzlers. And so like the fact that he was injured for the team photo and they put that goalie in a folding chair, scooted him to the crease and said, "Now stay." Like it was good social media
Beautiful.
content, but also like they're missing some Craig Anderson.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
I'm going to respond to Shaggy real quick.
This one right here.
Yes. New Jersey is 5 years away from making the playoffs.
I will say the only great thing I think they have going for them right now, and not even great. I still have some hope in Dougie Hamilton, but that's about it.
I mean, if
their
you look at their
season went
defense,
to-
it's just not there.
Their season literally went to hell when Dougie Hamilton missed, I think, 8 weeks with a broken jaw. They were in a playoffs. They were in contention for a wild card spot until he had his jaw broken in the Washington game right after New Year's.
Having your arguably your best defenseman on the team go out like that, it's
It
rough.
sucks.
I'm
It
a
sucks.
big fan of the Dougie Hamilton Ryan Graves pairing. I think that they are wonderful together.
Yes, and why
they're also like 27 feet tall. So
yes, and why Lindy Ruff separated them. So it just boggles my mind. But I guarantee I'm going to say this. I think by mid-season, if they're, I think Lindy Ruff is the first coach fired, and I think Andrew Burnett takes over.
I might
I
second
don't think
that.
you want you're gonna take over.
Dougie Hamilton, Ryan Graves combo may be a good combo, but Dougie Hamilton carries that. I am
Oh, yeah.
anti Ryan
Absolutely.
Graves.
Despite
To
plus
the
minus
end.
king. Ryan Graves.
Yeah, plus minus
Al-
king when you're playing with Kale fucking McCarr.
Alan, if you're listening, close your ear.
Sorry, Alan. I'm not a
He's
Ryan
in the
Graves guy.
comments, friends. See, Kyle.
And
Absolutely
here's
agree,
the other
Ryan.
problem for New Jersey too. A lot of their guys are either unproven or really old but proven.
Well, so their most proven guys are the guys that they traded for, right? Palat and Vanacek right now.
No.
Eric Holla. Eric Holla is a damn good PK guy and a damn good third line forward.
I'll give him that
yeah.
he's got a pesty attitude and he's got a little bit of physicality to back him up.
It's something that Jersey has lacked over the last
Yes,
half
which
decade.
I will give you that.
Ryan,
I
I
am
would
personally
love to
not
have
gonna
Eric
tell us
Holla
that
on
you
my
can.
club, and no one else would be able to refute that if they was on your club.
I just want to see that graphic. I just want to see that graphic at the Rock says it says after he scores a goal, it says "Holla" if you hear me. That's
Yep.
all I want.
Love
John
it.
That's all
Forsland-
I want.
John
With the
Forsland-
big pump of pump Scott Steiner music behind
Yes.
him.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. John
Underestimate.
Forsland used to like.
For those of you
flex on
kids
that
in the
last
audience, that's WWE references.
So do not underestimate the power of Andre Palat. I said that in Stanley Cup final. In many of the voters' faces, you have to look out for him.
Yeah.
He plays on a team with Coates and Hedman. He's always a guy like in the background. He is dangerous. He has been dangerous his entire professional hockey career. He has won a Calder Cup and 2 Stanley Cups.
Mhm.
He is a phenomenal player to have on your roster. Hate him for being a bolt all you want to, but that kid can play hockey. And now he's coming in with Nico and he's coming in with Hughes, and he's going to be the guy in the locker room who elevates the Devils play.
Yeah.
When
Yeah, I
Nico
mean-
Hischier breaks point per game in a season, I'll take Detroit. I'll take New Jersey seriously.
I
Well,
just
the
I
biggest
still can't
question-
believe he was in McCarr's draft class,
Yeah.
#1 overall.
The McCarr 3. That's what I'm referring to them as.
Well,
I
the
like
thing is, for coming into next season, next offseason, the biggest question isn't if the Devils are going to re-sign Ryan Graves. The biggest question is whether they're going to re-sign Jesper Bratt.
Fair.
You have
Because when Jack Hughes was out, he became the primary goal scorer. Like just
Mhm.
absolutely came out of nowhere.
Oh,
Became the number 1 goal scorer. He led the team in points, led the team in goals, led the team in assists. I mean, Jack Hughes was right behind him. I predicted Hughes would have a 60-point season. Was this close to it? Then he got hurt in the Islanders game, and that all went sideways. So I don't know. Jesper Bratt, I was certain they were either going to sign Bratt to a long-term deal or they were going to trade him. He's going to be a trade piece for Matthew Tkachuk. I was certain of it, but they wound up getting him a 1-year arbitration deal. But it's going to be interesting to see what they do in the offseason if they can afford him and
Yeah,
Ryan Graves.
As a not massive follower of the Eastern Conference, I will say I'm still definitely holding out for the Hughes brother reunion tour in New Jersey. I want to see Jack and Quinn on a team together. I think it would be phenomenal. It's all about family, so I think them playing together would severely elevate the Devils.
Well, Luke is supposedly going to join after Michigan's season ends in either with a national, as a natty or somewhere in the Frozen Four.
Do the Devils finish ahead of the
Michigan
Islanders
Michigan
next
doesn't
year?
even make the playoffs.
Yes. Joel, my answer to your question, I think, is yes. Just
I
because
agree.
of
So they're not winning the Big Ten.
no.
I mean, they might not. I mean, they've got a coaching change now after that
Mhm.
whole culture issue with their coach. I
Mhm.
mean, that was some gnarly stuff that was going on
that
in
was.
those locker rooms, and I think it might have tainted the entire program for a little while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of where
Yeah.
my head's at too. I don't know.
I
Yeah.
still think the Islanders finish below them. I
Me
don't
too.
think
Yeah.
they're completely basement, but they do
Yeah, I
have their
think
work cut out for them.
You can thank
I
Lou
agree with
Lamoriello for that.
You mean Penny Pantherlin?
I swear
Look,
we're
when the
getting ready to
rumors
sign
out
Kendrick.
that-
Just got to move these finances around real quick.
when rumors were out that Kadri was going to sign in New York with the Islanders, I was like, "There's no way Lou Lamoriello is prepared to pay him the dollar amount that he's asking for." Like, the rumors were laughable. It wasn't going to happen. Islanders fans were like, "Oh, he's coming!" I'm like, "No, he's not." Did you guys
Robot Dad
forget?
is back.
Ugh.
Yeah. You sound like that alien filter on Snapchat.
Yeah,
I don't know what that is. I don't Snapchat.
like when you put your voice up to a fan.
Yeah.
I'm a nice kid. I know what that is.
So now that the Islanders are in the talk, are we ready to get to the Metro?
I was thinking so. We touched on.
I'm
the
sitting here
Devils
trying to
and
decide if I want to start a
Islanders.
fight on this show or not.
With who's the question?
Who are you fighting, Jared?
Probably me.
Carolina's held back until they trade Jacob Slavin.
Oh,
You
Hot
shut
take.
it. You shut it. You be quiet. That is no.
Kat, if you're watching, please feel free to just eviscerate Jared. Like,
Yes,
The
please.
Slavin slander.
We don't accept slave and slander here, but
Well, Mile High Radio has now been let go from Belly Up Sports from what I saw.
the Surge Cast is admitting you as their sister pod.
Yes, the Surgecast has acquired the Mile High.
For future
Acquire
consideration.
rights for future considerations.
He's getting around a lot this offseason. God dang. He
Yeah,
can't
I
pick one
know,
too much to
right?
want.
Really is.
I'm still waiting for him to
Future's
pay off from the Malcolm Subban trade with Buffalo, so we still haven't gotten those future considerations.
I mean, when you think about it, though, too, Vegas is about to make off with highway robbery after the shit that we're going through with the crap we're going through with Pacioretty. Sorry, I don't think I'm allowed
You
to
do
curse
realize
on here.
Jared just dropped an
Yeah, how did
F-bomb a
they-
few
how
minutes
did they-
ago, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm still kind of confused as to how they got Pacioretty. Like, did they
You
get-
and me
did they get-
both. You and
Yeah.
me
Magic.
both.
Did they ask
Magic?
did they ask Vegas to keep half his salary or just
No.
oh well,
They were trying to get rid of Cap, which is why Carolina, and so I guess this will kind of enter in the conversation. Carolina obviously is at the top of my list for the Metro, just given how close we have been the past few years, ever since RBA kind of came in and took the team over as a head coach. But something that we have really lacked is a natural goal scorer. We are a team that is filled with 20 goal scorers. We are a team that thrives off of that system. But something that Rod was looking to add to the system was a guy like Max Pacioretty who can score goals when he can stay healthy. And which is why when Tom Dundon, Don Waddell saw that move was open and they were looking to get rid of him, kind of yes please situation. So, and then we saw how it worked out in spades.
Is this Jordan Stahl's last rodeo?
If it's not, he's being signed to 1-year contracts until it is.
Because they go join all the stalls in Florida.
Yes. I don't know what it kind of sounded like is when he did his exit interview this past or after we were taken out by the Rangers, rest in peace. Shaggy. I don't know. But it's I don't know. It's in his exit interview, he made it sound like he's hoping this is the year to do it. And from the offseason that we've just had in acquiring Brent Burns, and
you mean
hopefully-
Chewbacca?
He literally looks like a mountain man, and I love it. He is the embodiment of mountain man. But
I figured out how they could acquire Pacioretty. Because Trocheck went to the Rangers.
yeah,
That's
so
what I
we
figured.
lost Trocheck, we lost Niederreiter. But I don't know. Jordan Stahl maybe has a year or two left in him. I think.
Got Paul Stastny too.
Shots?
Ooh,
Paul
Fire.
Stastny was a great Shaggy.
Shaggy's the one starting the fights. In the
I'm
chest,
choosing to-
man.
I'm choosing to ignore you, Shaggy.
Shaggy,
Shaggy
I
Von
accept your
Deuce.
invitation for here in Puckburg. Thank you.
Woo!
We can
But
have Kane slander all episode.
Oh boy.
I'm
Bailey,
gonna
that'll be the
I'm-
one Bailey doesn't listen to.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, We'll get Grant on the podcast instead of MHP if that's how you really feel.
Oh, goodness gracious.
My dog is having a panic attack right now.
Poor puppy.
This lightning is making her lose her mind.
Yeah, I don't know. So, yeah, Carolina's obviously at the top of my list. Obvious reasons, both biased and unbiased. I think we still have a young core to rely on for the team, and guys like Svechnikov, Aho, Jarvis. But we've also got a considerably more veteran presence than in past years. Guys joining similar age as Jordan Stahl, guys that can obviously offer a lot of learning experience to our younger guys to hopefully get to that point that we've been fighting for since 2006 and since we've come out of our dark ages. Next team up after that, in my books, is going to be New York in the Rangers.
Okay.
In the Rangers.
Thank you for clarifying.
Man, which one are we talking about?
Yeah. My sleeper team, I'm probably it's a tear between Pittsburgh and Washington. That's where I say I think those are your four that make playoffs.
What about Columbus?
Columbus, and let me pull up just because
Johnny Hockey.
Yeah, and that's the one thing I don't know. You've got guys like Johnny Hockey, you've got Patrick Laine, goaltending in their goaltending in Elvis Merzlikins is I love Elvis personally. He's a great guy. I don't think that having and adding Johnny Hockey is going to be enough. He's a great player. I will give him that. I don't think it's going to be enough for Columbus.
So I think the Rangers top the Metro this season.
Beth.
What?
Breaking play. I mean, it's a fair statement. It's a fair statement.
I think the Canes
Alon's got
are
those
behind
points,
them. I think Pittsburgh finishes third. And I think Columbus sneaks back into the playoffs. Elvis obviously struggled in the beginning of last season, given everything that happened with Kiwi. And so I think this season is the season where he comes out of that and becomes the Elvis that we saw prior to that incident. They've got Johnny Hockey. They have Patrick Laine, who is just Patrick Laine. I mean, the man is just eccentric and lovable. They've got some really great young talent in Cole Sillinger and Jake Bean. They have the lineup there. I do want to watch the first Columbus home game on television, though, because I want to see what happens when the cannon goes off and Johnny Gaudreau's in the building, because we all saw what happened when he was in the building as a visiting team member.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see if he has overcome his jumpiness, but I think that they squeak in that 4th/wild card spot. And I think that they make a return to the playoffs. And honestly, I would love to see it happen, and I would love to see them sweep Tampa out of the first round again. Because people are like, but they won 2 cups. I'm like, yeah, and they still got swept out of the playoffs by Columbus after winning the most games in NHL history.
Tampa had to go through a lot in order to win those 2 cups, because they got kicked out by the Blackhawks. They
lost in the cup final to the Blackhawks.
Yeah, kicked out as in lost in the cup final.
But that game was on NHL Network the other day, and of course I watched it. I had to have some happy moments, and I had 100% forgotten that at the end of that season, Brent Seabrook called the Tampa Bay Lightning becoming a dominant force to be reckoned with within a few years. And look what happened 4 years later.
Yeah.
Like that was his post-game interview with Pierre McGuire was, you got to watch out for Tampa. They're going to be something to contend with in the next couple of years.
Yeah. I mean, something, and to your point too, I mean, Columbus is going to be an interesting force, and it's hard to say whether or not I think that's going in the good or bad direction for me. or the good or just there direction for me. But something to keep in mind too is Stanley Cup champion Darcy Kemper decorates the Capitals roster.
Capitals.
Non-factor.
And this is
The Capitals
something
are
I think.
aging.
So I think
Yes.
the Capitals missed the playoffs this
Yeah.
year.
I do too.
Okay. I mean, and this is something.
And they don't
that-
miss it by a little bit either. They
No,
miss it
they-
by about 10 points.
Really?
They fall off a cliff. Oh yeah.
Mhm.
I still think they make the playoffs.
I think
They're on
If
the
it's
outside.
loss-
just
They'll be,
there.
they'll be the last wild card team in, but
Mhm.
I think
so.
just
The
'cause
loss
there.
of Tom Wilson and Backstrom alone, those first whatever couple months, like I don't know, Ovechkin can't do it all by himself.
Mm-mm.
Like I don't know how he managed to put up another great season as far as scoring
Because
goes
he's
again.
Ovi and he has an office.
Well,
Yes.
and
So-
Oshie. Oh, here's the thing too. Oshie can't stay healthy. Kuznetsov is Jekyll and Hyde is just as bad as Vancouver is.
Mhm.
Dylan Strome, it's going to take him a little bit to adjust to the system.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And here's the thing: the Capitals are one of the few teams in the league where their average age is over 30.
Right.
This
They are
is
not
true.
a young. They are not a young team. Their
Mm-mm.
forward line average age is 29.4. Their defensive average age is 30.1. Goalies are 30, and then I mean, even on their IR, the average age is 32 years old because Backy, Wilson, and Carl Hagelin are still listed on IR. Like they are not a young team, and they are going to get bruised and they are going to get battered, and it is going to be a rough season in DC.
I have them finishing near the bottom.
Mhm.
Really. Like not as bad as like Isles Flyers, but they're going to be battling out with like the Devils. Like,
Ryan's head turned almost immediately when you said Devils. What?
I just I wasn't impressed with them. Like, if you see the Washington that you did first round of the playoffs last year, no, just no.
They beat themselves
Yeah.
more than they got beat. They beat themselves.
Then
And
yeah.
Ovi is turned back into the selfish player he was before the cup was won.
That's
They
fair.
won that, they won that cup because he played as a team player. He stopped being the selfish player that he's always been.
like you see like a passing of the guard almost from like the Bruins and the Capitals of the world to, teams like Lightning, where it's already really been passed, but like those other teams in the East, Rangers and Canes and stuff. But yeah, Ryan, what's your take, man?
So for the Metro, it's gonna be it's a 2-team race between the Rangers and the Hurricanes. I think the Rangers had the slight edge because of their goaltending.
Fair.
I think Pittsburgh's Pittsburgh. They're gonna be Pittsburgh until Crosby's legs fall off, which is going to be a while because he's got very strong legs.
Mhm.
Yeah, people thought they weren't going to be like the Penguins anymore, but they did a great job at keeping their guys really. for
Yeah, I was gonna
another
say
shot.
being
they-
able to work that out with keeping Malkin was huge for them.
Yeah, and Crosby has taken the Tom Brady approach to contracts. Well, Tom Brady with the Patriots. Tom Brady with the Patriots, not Tom Brady now, but Tom Brady with the Patriots, where he takes less money so they can bring in other guys, like or keep Malkin as we saw in the offseason. Their goaltending's
Sorry, Grant's here.
Well, and here's the thing: Sidney Crosby takes wonderful contracts, like $8.7 million, and that just seems to be the number he's going to stick with. And I don't have an issue with that. He takes term over money, and over the length of time, term can add up over a couple seasons at a higher salary.
Yeah. You look at like Florida, for example, Bobrovsky's getting paid $10 million this year.
And next year, the
And
year
next year.
after, and I think the year after.
Mhm.
Something
So, yeah,
I will
so-
say though too is that might come to hurt the Rangers in the long run too, and this is the big reason why we didn't sign that contract to keep Trocheck, was the fact that he was signed to a 7-year deal. Guys, 29. he's going to be kind of on the older end of where players kind of reach that past their prime situation. Now, granted, I hate the fact that he's still in our division because he's going to be a huge pest for the other kind of or team in the running. But so I don't know. That doesn't necessarily affect them now, but just kind of looking in the future.
But here's the thing: they could have retained Kopp and Vetrano for the money they signed for Trocheck.
This is true.
And they were huge in the playoffs for the Rangers. They scored
Kopp and
so many
Vetrano,
goals.
they made
Kopp
that
was
team.
they
Right.
were the guys on that team.
If you're taking Shesterkin out of the equation, because even Kyle
Yeah.
Hall from the Broadway Hat podcast says that Shesterkin basically carried that team on his back.
Oh, he did. And I mean, they do have a decent backup in Yaroslav Halak. So, I mean, he's nothing to blink an eye at. Yeah, he's a little past his prime. He's past his mid-30s, but he's still a really good goaltender.
What are you saying about people who have passed their mid-30s, Beth?
Past my mid-30s, sir.
Well, so am I.
I'm going to just sip my wine.
Yeah,
My
ma'am
youngin'
who
over
has-
here.
Ma'am who was born in 2000 and you can just...
Zach's bad enough as it is. You leave me alone.
No, ma'am.
Wait,
Birth
Bailey's
year's a
2000
compound-
and there's an
Yeah,
and.
her birth year is a compound sentence.
2001, Jared.
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I was playing roller hockey when you were born.
Chugs. But
I am.
but, mean,
If it makes you feel any better, I feel like I am wise beyond my years. So
There's some truth to that.
So anyway,
Were you even
Anyway,
alive when
back
9/11
to-
happened? I mean, come on.
Penguins. I'm gonna say for my third team in that for the wild card team from that division. I think Columbus squeaks by Washington just based on the fact that Johnny Gaudreau is going to score a lot of goals for them.
But is Johnny Gaudreau, is he enough to propel that team to where?
but
they
it's
need
not
to be?
just him. They have Patrick Laine, they have Boone Jenner, they have Jake Bean, they have Cole Sillinger. Like it's not just Johnny Hockey. They have points
but
scorers on their team.
But he will be the catalyst that kind of puts him over the
Oh,
top.
for sure.
That's the reason why Lane resigned. Like,
Yeah.
he
Shinnikov
resigned.
too.
Like,
What'd you say, Jared?
Shinnikov.
Yeah, I mean, Columbus isn't anything to ignore. They have a lot of offensive weapons on their team.
I think the Devils also my Devils make a vast improvement from last season, if and only if they can stay healthy, because that's the biggest problem they had last year was staying healthy. Jack Hughes was out for 6 weeks after the second game. Thank you, Jeremy Lazan. Goaltending is going to be an issue. They started 7 people, but they started 7 guys between the pipes last year. Yeah. Yeah.
The 15-16 abs pray for you.
The 2021 Flyers also would like to enter that chat.
Flyers are the bottom of the division still.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, I kind of had hopes going for them after 2020 because I thought Carter Hart was going to be the guy.
Cat a hat.
Cat hat. But unfortunately,
He was briefly the guy, and then
in 2020, yes.
yeah, and then people were like, "Carter Hart's the guy," and he was like, "I'm the guy."
And then they said no. So
Yeah. Also,
But yeah,
I
that
feel like
team's in
the
a
hockey
rebuild.
gods' karma towards the Flyers for intentionally ending an Iron Man streak is just, I mean, you healthy scratched a dude who was
Jared just
leading the most games played in the NHL. And we're just like, we're out of the playoff race, but we are going to scratch you anyway. It's fine. So
Is it too late to get my 4 in for this week?
no, go ahead.
Oh,
ahead.
go ahead, Jared.
yeah.
Everyone's been pretty much fucking spot on here though with Rangers and Carolina. I mean,
Shaggy Von Doom says hi, Grant. Oh, he's got his Shaggy Von Doom says hi.
Oh, wait, he's in there?
He's in the comments.
he's on the comment section. Well, you can be.
Hi, Kyle.
Shaggy slides,
I forgot
slides
I
in
live-
more comments than Grant
I
does in my
forgot
DMs. It's crazy.
Yeah, I forgot I live near not near, but like I'm a couple hours drive from Kyle now. So
Yeah. Anyway, Jared,
Anyway,
continue.
Yeah, Rangers and Hurricanes, I think, is everybody's consensus 1-2. If not, just flip flop it either which way. I am going to take the weirdest approach ever. Columbus is 3,
Let's go.
and I think Pittsburgh's ship has sailed. They're done.
Okay.
No matter what Tristan Jarry pulls out of his hat, like the St. Louis Cardinals used to do with their random bullshit pitchers that they could pull out of a hat out of nowhere for no freaking reason other than just be good. Looking at you, Michael Wacha. I think the Islanders get in as the 4th team.
Wow.
wow.
Interesting. That is
Okay.
a hot take.
That is
Please-
the weirdest take.
Please
out of-
explain your thesis.
Yes, please.
This is getting to be a shock. Sorokin starts 50 games. Varlamov starts 32. And Sorokin obviously carries the workload, but Varlamov tries to get rid of his groin issues. And I believe Matthew Barzal gets 95 points and basically backloads the team into the playoffs.
Wow.
But does he go missing again for
No.
like 10
Wow.
No,
Do we lose Matt Barzal again? Like, do we lose him?
no. I think if you put him with Palmieri and Parise, he's good.
No, you do realize last season, like they actually could not find Matt Barzal, right? Like,
Right. Yeah.
Not
I
that
mean,
not that he was missing on the ice. Like they actually lost the man.
he was MIA, but
Right.
I think he'll be fine. I mean, and then I think Brock Nelson kind of returns to vintage form, and Kiefer Bellows is kind of the fun little wild card in there too.
I think they have an underrated blue line there. I will
Yeah.
give them that. They have a really underrated blue line.
And they're done
in my
playing.
opinion.
And they're done paying Rick DiPietro finally. They're finally done paying.
Finally,
The Bobby Bonilla of the NHL.
yes.
That was the Bobby Bonilla day of the
That
NHL
was-
for a long time.
I
Oh,
mean,
I mean they've got some really interesting pieces that I think make them half decent. I mean the biggest question mark is going to be if Sebastian Aho is convicted in Sweden, who's going to take his place? Not the one in Carolina, but the one in New York.
the other
I
I
Sebastian.
was
Yeah.
about to say.
Bailey was like, "What do you mean, Sebastian?"
I get Jared's point because the fact that last year's nightmare of a schedule, they had to play their first 13 games on the road while UBS Arena was still being finalized. Plus, they had all those games lost to the 19. All those man games lost. They had to make up all those games at the end of the season, and it just exhausted them.
Oh yeah,
So
And-
I can see where you're going here, Jared, for sure.
that was definitely an issue for most of the league last year after the All-Star break, Christmas
Yeah.
shut down. I mean, a lot of teams played a lot of games
Yeah.
after the All-Star break.
I think that, but I thought that was the best thing the league could have done at the time.
Yeah,
But that made me
for
happy
sure.
as a
They
hockey
had to
fan.
do
Though,
it.
that had to make
Oh,
you
yeah.
happy. I mean,
Yeah.
Colorado played what 35 games in 70 some odd days.
There were like
I mean, it was
14 games
awesome.
on a night. It was beautiful.
Thank you, Hulu and ESPN Plus.
Thank
Let's
you.
see the game on the
Carolina
last during intermission.
Played 17 games in the month of March. 17. It was rough. But
All right,
Bye,
everybody say
Shaggy.
good
Hope you
night,
Bye,
find
Shaggy.
Bye,
Hope,
Shaggy.
hope you find your dad.
See Shags.
Here's my question to everybody: who wins the East?
I think the Rangers win the East.
I gotta
You
go
can
with my
cover your
boys.
face all I want.
I have a bold prediction
Oh yes, here
Yes.
because I did my writing today for bold predictions. BellyUpSports.com. Shameless plug. New York Jets bold predictions for this year. But I have a bold prediction for the Carolina Hurricanes. I think they trade for Connor Hellebuck to shore up their goaltending.
In
Interesting.
Freddie or Ronta? Because we've got. I mean,
Yeah, they have a good goalie tandem.
People tend
I
to forget that they
understand-
won
I
the
underst-
Jennings.
I
People-
understand that, but what happened in the Rangers series?
We
They
also
were
did not
injured.
have. We also did not have
Yeah.
Freddie Anderson.
Freddie
True.
Anderson was out with an injury, but I mean,
But-
Coochie did what he needed to do to at least keep the Canes in the series.
But Antti Ranta's not the capable backup you need going into the months of April, May, and June.
Right.
I would
Right.
like for you to put some respect on Stanley Cup champion Antti Ranta's name, please.
He can have my respect when he was the starter for either of those teams.
I I still look at Ronta like I've said it on the Surge cast. I'll say it again. He compares to a Francois type for me. He's not not like going to start, but he can be a great.
He's
like,
a
one
great
of the top backups.
He's a
He's
great
a
guy to
serviceable
lean on.
backup.
But does he
serviceable
steal the game in the
backup?
playoffs a la Francois?
See,
He
Do
did
serviceable
in the
backups
first-
win you a Stanley Cup? That's my question.
They do. They can.
They
to
can.
be fair,
yeah,
To be
he
fair.
stole- he stole 7 games for the Hurricanes.
He did.
He
this
did.
playoff run.
So,
did.
and that's where I will stand firm on the fact they are the Jennings champions and they are the Jennings winner for a reason. They're one of the only tandems that I will consider a 1A, 1B type situation in at least the East, if not the entire conference. One of the. I just like there's maybe this is just me being.
I think it's the wine talking.
Shut up. No, I just, and maybe this is just me being more focused on the Metro than anything, just given it is my division. But I don't see a lot of teams that rely on, I don't know. I don't see 1A, 1B type situations as often in the league. Like you see guys who are teams that rely on guys like Vasilevsky, like Shesterkin, situations like that more often than you see a 1A, 1B type situation where, I mean, Rod Brindamore in and of itself is, in and of himself, is unpredictable. So we never know who's starting the night. But
Here's
that's
In the
that's
playoffs,
my
you
issue,
don't-
though.
In the playoffs, you don't run a 1A, 1B though. Look at what happened in Minnesota when they tried
No.
to run a 1A, 1B with Talbot and Fleury. You
They got-
can't. You
They got
you
shipped out in
don't
the first
not.
round.
Yeah, you
And-
don't ride the. If you don't ride the hot goalie, you're gonna get shipped out of the playoffs.
And that's where I say, I think our playoff situation would have been a hell of a lot different had Freddie not been injured on April 16th.
I don't think Nashville would have gotten swept if UC Saros was actually healthy.
They lose in 5.
4-1.
Yeah.
4-1.
Yeah,
It would have been. It would have been 5, maybe 6. However, if Saros was healthy, it would
But
have
we-
been
we
more.
If
of a
Saros was
could-
series.
healthy, would
If
have
Bennington
given
is healthy,
Colorado.
that series goes 7. I'll say it
Yeah.
to the end of the earth. That
Yeah.
series goes 7 with
Mhm.
Bennington being healthy.
Yeah.
But we could run what if scenarios all night.
That's my
Oh, we
favorite.
So it's just I don't know. I'm excited to see what happens with Freddie being back, Freddie being healthy off of his MCL. And I mean, of course I gotta have faith in my boys, but I also hope that with the additions that we've made this season, that it'll be enough to finally get us over that hump that we've been so close to for years.
Columbus beats Carolina in the East Final.
Shut up. No, it doesn't happen. I don't think it does.
Florida is a wild card team.
I agree. I don't know if Florida makes the playoffs.
No. I think they miss I think they miss on game 81.
81.
I like it. Chaos.
Now, here's an interesting note to end off on, since we've got 2.5 minutes left.
2 minutes left, yeah.
Maybe.
Who
Not
wins
even.
the President's Trophy?
Does it really matter?
The Canes.
Arizona. I'm kidding.
Arizona.
No, that's the biggest. That's my biggest question. Can Arizona attract 2,500 people in the 5,000 seat arena?
Have you seen how expensive their tickets are?
I
It
know.
is-
I was
oh my God.
literally just
Ben.
about to bring that up.
Their cheapest seats are like
$250
$150, $250 for like
for Avs
the
games,
cheap
it's $250. It's
Yeah.
stupid.
No,
I-
for
I-
Arizona in their 5,000 seat arena, their
Yeah,
cheapest seats for
against
season
Colorado.
ticket members are
Well,
140.
Well, we'll put it this way: Arizona's prospects right now are playing in a bigger arena than Arizona is currently at the University of Minnesota.
I'm pretty sure Arizona's ECHL affiliate plays in a bigger arena than they're going to be playing in the NHL.
Their AHL team does in Tucson.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure the ECHL team here plays in a bigger arena than the Arizona Coyotes will be playing in the NHL.
The Eagles play in a bigger arena.
Yeah, so it's fun.
Okay, hold on really quick. Last one. Who wins the cup? Go.
Avs back to back.
Calgary.
Calgary.
Good Calgary.
I just want everyone to have a good time.
I just hope both teams have fun.
Best.
Colorado.
I wholeheartedly gotta stick with my team.
I could see the Avs repeating, but I would like to actually see my previous prediction for the final. I would love for it to be Avs Canes.
Yes. As much as it would kill me.
Poor Bailey would be
Surgecast crossover for the entire month of June.
Poor Bailey would be in a corner.
Great
just like
podcast
rocking.
content.
Oh my
Great
God,
podcast
amazing content.
But
For sure.
that would kill me, especially with the guy sitting right over here as well as you both.
Oh, I know. We've all heard him during games. Trust me.
Oh,
we know.
yes. So anyway, 30 seconds left. Last words.
Yay, hockey.
Yay, hockey.
Yeah, under 30 days
Everybody want to
away.
drop their socials real quick?
You see it right here.
Yep.
there.
I mean,
Right the little ad.
Follow
that's
on
my
Twitter.
personal on Twitter, but you can also follow our podcast. I know JJ and Jared have Mile High Pundit, which is Jared's handle.
I ghost right for Jared sometimes.
Bailey is
I get quote
on
tweeted. It's awesome.
the Surgecast with Zach Martin, and your Twitter is just Surgecast.
Just look up the Surgecast on Twitter.
Okay. Ryan is on No Credentials Required, and your Twitter handle is No Cred REQ.
No creds, REQ.
Ah, so close. And then I co-host Let's Talk Wo Hockey, also with Zach Martin. He is a busy, busy man, and you can follow us on Twitter at Talk Wo Hockey Pod. Of course, don't forget to follow Belly Up Hockey, Belly Up Media, and Belly Up Sports as well, because they are the reason we're all here together.
Alrighty.
Thanks, guys. It was fun talking to you guys.
Yeah,
It was fun.
it's been
Yay,
This was a
we
great
played hockey
episode.
this month.
Hockey is so close. I know a lot of us are about 37 days away. So
JT Comfort days away.
Andrei
Timothy.
Svechnikov days away. Woohoo! Anyway,
All right. Bye,
Bye, guys.
guys.
bye
Take it easy.
guys.
Adios.